That one bullshit PlayStation trophy.
Now, I really enjoyed Resident Evil Revelations when I played it on the PS4 back in the day, as it was a pretty neat Resident Evil experience. But one thing that dragged down the Platinum journey for me and made it much more frustrating and grindy was the raid mode, which was this kind of mercenaries-like mode with 62 stages spread out across 3 difficulty levels, where you had to make your way through this challenge course, killing all the enemies you can find for bonus points. The mode was really fun at first, especially in online co-op with a friend, as you could run the harder difficulties together and both earn cool loot and upgrades to level up your character and make their weapons even stronger. This was very much a grindy mode and a huge time sink, in that players who ran the harder levels over and over again to farm XP and items would be able to unlock the super gear needed in order to even think about looking at the full speed dead ahead silver trophy for beating the game's bonus 60-second stage ghost ship on chaos difficulty. This was the game's ultimate challenge, and here a normal enemy will start at a power level of 30 and they will only get higher as you play through the level and get closer and closer to the end, where the final boss Norman will be waiting for you. And here he now has a power level of 80, making him an absolute bullet sponge, and you'll also get a trophy at this point for beating Super Norman, so you kind of get 2 trophies in one with this run of the level. So the level itself definitely requires you to have the best gear and weapons, yet even after completing all 60 of the levels in raid mode with 20 per difficulty level and getting S rank on all of those, you will still be nowhere near the power and weapon level needed to confidently take on this challenge. After all, there are 434 enemies lying in wait for you in this level alone, so you're gonna need as much firepower as you can bring. I remember when I was doing this, I was playing it with a friend from work, and we had been going through the raid mode for a couple of weeks, and once we finally unlocked the Ghost Ship Chaos level, we decided to try it and just see how bad it was, and well, we got our asses absolutely handed to us.
Get up, get up, get up, get up!
And it was at that point that we both knew that even though this was the final level that we had left to beat in raid mode, we were still miles from the finish line. And what ensued was just hours upon hours, days upon days of me grinding out the ghost ship on Abyss difficulty to earn enough XP and gear to reach the level 50 maximum level cap, as that would then unlock Keith, who had a samurai sword and good machine gun stats, but more importantly, a 200% melee damage boost, which would come in very handy in the chaos difficulty. By the time I had finally gotten to level 50, I knew that ghost ship stage like the back of my hand, and I quickly got into a rhythm to storm through the level pretty quickly, though this was still very much a really long and tedious grind. And I really hate it when games do this by forcing in this stupidly long grind to be able to just attempt another level whose difficulty is spiked way far above anything else in the game. I mean, I get that it works to keep users playing the game mode for longer, but geez, if you want people to stay and play it longer, just create more interesting content and don't force me to have to replay a single level 100 times just to earn enough XP, because your XP giving out rates is just so fucking stingy. That's a typical Crapcom move if ever there was one, but I digress. Anyway, so when I was finally leveled up enough and I was fully kitted out, I was kind of disappointed to find that my co-op partner wasn't leveled up enough because, well, they just didn't have enough time to do it throughout the week like I did. And while we beat Ghost Ship on Abyss difficulty, despite them falling asleep at the boss fight, The chaos difficulty was on a whole other level, and we both needed to be as high as possible. Despite that, we tried, and while we did a little bit better, because we both weren't maxed out, we sort of had a weak link, and it sort of meant that we were just really delaying the inevitable until we failed. So we ended up giving up for the night, and the next day I was online, but there was no sign of my mate, so I just decided to try and play with some randoms online, and, well, after a while I matched up with an absolute veteran of the game. This was my Brad Vickers moment, like when he flies the helicopter again and throws down the RPG to save Jill from the tyrant in Resident Evil 1. This was my Brad Vickers swooping in to just carry me through this Chaos ghost ship. This person was just a total god of Revelations, and they could near enough one-shot most things with ease, striking massive damage to anything they hit, even the bosses. I dread to think how long of a grind that took, but I was just thankful that they had persisted with the game so much to get to that type of level, and at this point I just prayed that they would stay the whole match to carry me through it, and after about 20-ish or so minutes later, we arrived at the final Norman boss, where this happened.
Get over here. Get over here. That went well. Bravo.
I got it. It was over. Well, that person got it for me. I just sort of stood there and probably got in the way a fair bit. But hey ho, I got a few kills, look. But yeah, this was just... It was so intense. And that is such a difficulty spike in terms of just how much grind you have to do to just be so powerful, to be able to fight these things and to be able to easily kill them, because you could be quite high level but you'll eventually start to run out of ammo, and you definitely won't have enough ammo for the end bit, and you just will just die at that point because you can't really do anything. And the time sink needed to get this trophy was just immense. And while the mode, like I said, was fun at first, by the time I got to this point and got the trophy, I was just so thankful that it was over and that I didn't have to play raid mode anymore. As for my friend, well, I don't think they ended up getting the trophy in the end. So yeah, maybe I will go back to it and help them out at some point. But yeah, crazy grind, to be honest. So yeah, that's just another sort of story about how I got a trophy, because I recently found some old PS4 footage from previous games, and I thought it'd be cool to just reminisce about my experience with Resident Evil Revelations and this raid mode when going for the trophy. It really is the ultimate challenge of the game, but more about the time you've put into the grind than the actual real difficulty level and skill. So yeah, the difficulty spike really did ruin it, to be honest. It didn't need to be that grindy. It was just, really annoying. And the fact that there was a trophy there to complete this, it meant that I had to go and grind for this if I wanted that trophy and the platinum. And that just really sucked, which is one of the main reasons why the full speed dead ahead trophy for beating the ghost ship on chaos difficulty in Resident Evil Revelations gets a bullshit trophy rating of...
That went well. Bravo.
What an asshole. Oh, you're such an asshole.